Dell Shakespeare Project presents This Week in Shakespeare for the week ending Monday, July the 2nd, 2018. Hola, Bartophiles. I'm Bill Walthall, and welcome to the 203rd episode of This Week in Shakespeare, a video release brought to you by the Dell Shakespeare Project. This is our weekly opportunity to let you know about the latest and greatest in Willie Shakespeare headlines coming at you every Tuesday, because Tuesday is News Day. The goal here is to hit you with a quick blast, no more than 10 minutes tops, of Bard-related news. Plus, we'll try to serve up some historical dates for what were the past 7 days of the year. So, this week's news stories included: on the occasion of the end of Westworld's second season, The New Republic ran a piece claiming that understanding the confusion of this second season can be gained through Shakespeare. As someone who has personally presented on the Shakespearean references in the series, I'm not so sure I buy any connection anymore. The Washington Post reported on the naming of former Shakespeare Theater Company Associate Director Ethan McSweeny as the new Artistic Director of the American Shakespeare Center in Staunton, Virginia. The BBC ran the story of a temporary version of the Elizabethan Rose Theatre that has been built in the city of York in England. This pop-up theater has been built in a car park in 28 days to a circular design similar to playhouses erected on Bankside in Shakespeare's day. The Queen's University Journal covered the production, early last month, by Edge Productions of an all-female Henry V. On the occasion of the 405th anniversary of the event, History Extra ran a piece on the Globe Theatre fire of 1613, when Shakespeare's playhouse burned down. The LA Daily News ran a piece on the annual summer return to Los Angeles' Griffith Park of the independent Shakespeare Company. They do free Shakespeare every summer, with this summer including Midsummer and, wait for it, Titus Andronicus. Man, I love those guys, and I can't wait to see what they do with Titus. The Siskiyou Daily reviewed Romeo and Juliet by Oregon Shakespeare Festival, running in the outdoor theater through mid-October, calling it poetic, haunting, and one of the best productions of the play the reviewer has ever seen. And finally, The Stage reviewed The Tempest by Iris Theatre, running through the end of the month in London, giving it 3 of 5 stars, and calling it a solid, summary Shakespeare that could benefit from a little more pronounced point of view. Now let's take a look back on the last 7 days and how they relate to Shakespearean history, both his and the history in his plays. On June 26, 1483, Parliament passed Titulus Regius, granting Richard, Duke of Gloucester, the throne, and Richard III began his reign. On June 27, 1959, the original run of West Side Story, loosely based on Romeo and Juliet, closed on Broadway after 732 performances. On June 28, 1381, Richard II's forces defeated Essex rebels at Norsey Wood near Billericay. Over 500 rebels were killed, effectively ending the so-called Peasants' Revolt. On June 29, 1613, the Globe Theatre was destroyed by fire when a cannon fired during a performance of Henry VIII sparked a blaze. It was rebuilt in 1614, and on that same day in 1406, Isabella of Valois, the widow of Richard II, married her cousin, Charles of Orleans. After Richard's death, Henry IV commanded her to marry his son, the future Henry V. She refused, and Henry later married her younger sister, Catherine of Valois, instead, which is what we see in Henry V. On June 30th, 1934, the so-called Night of Long Knives began. This 3-day purge took place in Germany, where the Nazis consolidated Adolf Hitler's absolute hold on power in Germany by carrying out a series of political extrajudicial executions. No Shakespearean connection, but you don't have to read too much into Acts 2 and 3 of Richard III to find some parallels. On July 1st, 1535, Thomas More stood trial for high treason for denying the Act of Supremacy, which stated that papal supremacy no longer existed under the new Church of England under Henry VIII. And it didn't go so well, and he was executed by decapitation 5 days later. On July 2nd, 1489, Thomas Cranmer was born. He was the leader of the English Reformation and the Archbishop of Canterbury under Henry VIII, and he supported the concept of royal rather than papal supremacy. And that was your Week in Shakespeare, brought to you by the Bill Shakespeare Project. Now, if you've enjoyed this news review, tell a friend and hit the subscribe button so you're not going to miss any of these news, reviews, and history videos. For our daily blog and previous Twiz episodes, including links to the news stories we've covered this week, as well as the real Bill Shakespeare Project podcast, check us out at thebillshakespeareproject.com. And we'll catch you next week.